What in the world is a MarriedPreneur? MarriedPreneur. Are we just putting words together now? That word didn't exist in the 80s.
I hope it ain't nothing like horse manure.
MarriedPreneur. No, I don't think so. You trying to say it's full of something, right?
I don't know.
Is that what you trying to say?
I just know horse manure.
No.
Cow manure.
Preneur. MarriedPreneur.
Oh, pre.
Yeah, but see,
Premeditated.
we don't say that.
Premeditated.
See, all your stuff sounds.
It still sounds shady.
Yeah, all your stuff sounds skeptical. Just a little bit skeptical. Coming up on Surviving Marriage Podcast, what in the world is a MarriedPreneur?
Welcome to the Surviving Marriage Podcast with Rufus and Jenny, marriage educators, best-selling authors, and relationship disruptors. Giving you marriage education from decades of marriage experience. Here's Rufus and Jenny Triplett.
Welcome to all of our global listeners around the world. Welcome to another episode of Surviving Marriage Podcast Season 3. We cranking them out. We are cranking out these episodes. Hey, okay. We are Rufus and Jenny Triplett, co-authors. Married for Life, co-authors of the book, Surviving Marriage in the 21st Century, 13 Easy Tips that can help you get 20 years and beyond. And we are Married for Life, which we are actually MarriedPreneurs.
I ain't no pre-nothing. I ain't pre-did nothing.
We are MarriedPreneurs. So we're going to break that down. That brings us to this question. What is a MarriedPreneur? MarriedPreneur.
Better tell these people something.
Let's go with the first part. Because y'all know in the age of social media, like you could just kind of make stuff up, right? And make it a hashtag or, make things how you want it to fit, how you want it to jive. There's kind of no rules. It's all new in the game.
Is it premeditated marriage like premeditated murder?
No, that's snapped. That's Snap.
Just saying.
That's another show. Okay, MarriedPreneur. So the married couple, that's easy, right? That's the easy part. Well, maybe it's easy.
If you ain't putting it with the preneur.
Yeah, married, maybe it's easy. Okay, and then the preneur part is entrepreneur. So it's a married couple that works on their thing of entrepreneurship.
So they premeditated whether they wanted to work together now.
Yes, they pre-discussed it.
Yeah, well, I hope somebody didn't get the wrong end of the stick.
Okay, that's one of the hardest things to do, as a married couple. It's stressful. It's everything, but it's also one of the coolest things that you could ever do together is work together.
Oh, I thought you was going to say doing some preneur.
No,
I don't know if messing with manure is something marriages want to deal with.
Stop. No, because they say married couples cannot work together.
Well, just too close for me.
There have been a lot of ones who have, and it actually is a pathway to generational wealth.
Is you premeditating how to get out of the company?
Can we stop?
I'm just trying to say now.
Come on now. Okay. It's a pathway to generational wealth because having your own business can be passed down to your children, to your family. That's generational wealth. You can't pass down a job.
You can pass down horses.
You can't pass down Social Security. There might not even be no Social Security.
You can pass down cows.
But you can definitely pass down a family business. You could put it in your will. You can assign someone to be CEO or something like that. It could be passed on. And even if the children don't want to be in the business, if the business is thriving, here we go with that word. If the business is thriving, they can assign someone to run it. It would still be a family business. So it's a good thing to have. And couples working together, how
as long
cool
as it ain't run by Mr. Ed.
How cool is that? Stop it. But we have a married couple who's actually in the game and doing the doggone thing and created their own platform of MarriedPreneur.
Premeditated.
They premeditated that. Okay. So we will be back, guys, with married couple OL and Sway, and we're going to talk about the darn thing.
I hope they don't end up in court.
Marriedpreneur for life. Oh, what you got? We'll be right back.
Had to get right. You don't even know me. You don't even know my name. You don't even know me. I had to get right. You don't even know me. So you don't know my name. You don't even know.
All right. In our series, we're so happy with season 3 that we're being able to bring you guys couples that are actually working together and have platforms. And we think that's dope. Okay.
What kind of dope?
Not that type of dope.
It depends.
Not that type of dope. Okay.
Let's specify, right?
And we have a super dope couple, OL and Sway, with their platform, MarriedPreneur Life. Thanks, guys, for being here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, tell our listeners straight off. Oh, and our viewers, because season 3, our podcast is on YouTube now.
Don't nobody want to see you, Otis.
I ain't Otis. My mom ain't named me Otis.
Oh, well, that's what he told Otis.
Okay, tell our listeners and viewers what you guys do. Also, how long you been married?
Sure.
Yeah, so we'll start with the marriage part. We've been married this year. We'll make 11 years. Although we've known each other much longer than that, at least twice that amount of time.
Absolutely.
But yes, we help married entrepreneurs, those who are mission-minded. They want to launch, grow, and scale their businesses. Mm-hmm. And so we help them to do that in a way that's peaceable, powerful, and profitable.
Yes. And so we, with doing that, to be more specific with that, we actually go and help them build out systems and sync their systems with a laser clear strategy to build out that legacy together.
Well, well, y'all on the right track, because she just did you how she be doing me.
Excuse me?
Just don't, he said what he said.
Yeah.
He ain't got to add on to that.
But guess what? She didn't cut him off. So, but anyway, but she did lead into the next part, which is great. She just led right into it. But we're going to start at the end instead of the beginning, which is the legacy part and legacy building. So let's talk about why it is important of the legacy once you have it built. Like, what is the fruits of the legacy?
Yeah, well, it's definitely anything that we leave behind beyond us, but not only that, because you can leave all kind of things behind, right? Mm-hmm. But it's really that's going to be beneficial and helpful and useful to children, to community, to family, to friends, that really perpetuates not just the elements of your success, but what has made you successful, those values, those convictions, and do that in a way that has, in an ultimate sense, eternal usefulness and impact, but recognizing that there are going to be those who are coming behind us that are going to be catching that baton as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now, 2 things.
Hey, wait a minute. I ain't want to scare the sister now. Now, you can hook up your boy if it need to be now.
You ain't scaring nobody.
I was just trying to tell the sister, that's all.
You ain't scaring nobody, though. Ain't nobody scared of you.
I hope not. I don't scare people.
2 things that we have talked about for at least 30 years now, right? At least.
Well, as he said, I knew you longer than 30 years, though.
At least 30 years. Something that we've talked about is marriage and business. 2 things, okay? Mm-hmm. And we get a lot of people that just like, oh, I just love you guys. You're dynamic. You guys, all couples can't work together. You know, all couples cannot.
Believe
they wouldn't be able to do this, okay?
I done seen them.
We know a few. But they can be a helpmate. They can help in some aspects. So let's talk about that and being the support spouse.
Yeah, no, that's so good. We believe that if one of you is called to entrepreneurship, then the family is called to entrepreneurship, because ultimately the business will impact the family and the legacy. So that doesn't mean that both of you are like doing the same thing or in that same area. But that's where that support piece comes in. We've learned that there are 3 main MarriedPreneur types. And one of those is spousalpreneurs. And that's where one spouse is building the business while the other is supporting. Maybe they're working a 9 to 5, but they're more so on the supporting end. And then there are also indiepreneur types, which is another MarriedPreneur type, where both spouses are building individual businesses. And then there are couplepreneurs, where the spouses are actually working together in the same business as couples, and they're building that same business together.
Yeah, and let me just add to that. So with those 3 MarriedPreneur types, there's also some potential challenges that are distinct and unique to those. So as an example, the spousalpreneur, where one is really, the principal driving the business, and the other may have a 9 to 5 or what have you. One of the challenges for them potentially could be that they become, it's easy to become what we call running mates. So if you just think in a campaign sense, in a political campaign sense, somebody's name is sort of big at the top and the other person is sort of at the bottom. And that just is to say that sometimes the person who is not in the business directly, the spouse who may have a 9 to 5, they may be struggling to figure out where do they fit in? How do they fit in? What value can they add? What can they bring to the table? And sometimes the spouse that's running the business doesn't even know how to engage their spouse to help them in that business. Yep. And so it's very easy for the other spouse who's not running the business to feel second fiddle.
See, that's what you be talking about. You talking about you ain't gonna be Mr. Belvedere. You ain't gonna
hold no purse. Mr. Belvedere. I don't care about being Mr. Belvedere. You ain't gonna run and go get coffee, and all of that. No, I ain't gonna be your servant, but I'll be Mr. Belvedere. So tell me now, if that check had a lot of zeros on it, you ain't finna run and go get coffee? No. Okay. All right. Ask me, do I care? I'm just saying, you got couples like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to add to that, the indiepreneurs, where the two of you are having separate businesses and you're not working together in business, the potential challenge for that couple is that they can become what we would call roommates, where it just feels like you're splitting the bills down the middle.
That's it.
Maybe you get together for dinner and you swap war stories. What happened to you today? What happened to you today? And you might take on a sort of quasi consulting role for each other. Well, here's best practices that I've learned, and when that happens. But the reality is that you're married, but you feel like roommates, and you're splitting the bills down the middle, and there's not a lot of real connection that is happening. Lastly, the couplepreneurs, where you're working together in the same business, not like the running mates, not like the roommates. For this couple, it's easy to become what we call cellmates. This is where the business has you both on lockdown. And the challenge is you can feel like, well, we're spending so much time together. We're always together, so our marriage is good. Not so fast. Because what happens is that the business really becomes an all-consuming fire. So even if you're at date night or at dinner or whatever, you're still talking about the business. You wake up in the morning, you're still talking about the business.
Now, sometimes at dinner, that's good because you can write that off. If you're talking about business, you can write that off.
This is true.
But that's planned. We're talking about when it's not planned. When it's just engulfing everything about your marriage. Yeah.
Is he a doctor or something?
With a degree?
Because I feel like I'm being psychotherapist or something.
He all in your head.
He all up in mine. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay. We're going to talk about goal setting and how important it is with all of those categories and all of those breakdowns. You still have a marriage. No matter what type of preneur is at the end of it, you still have a marriage. And it's important to be on the same page. So let's talk about goal setting and how couples should come together and set those goals no matter your category.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that we know is so important for us is to be clear about the order, right? The order of marriage and business, and saying it right. We are married first, and then business is an addition to us being married. So what happens oftentimes when we're talking about goals is if we only focus on building the business and having goals there and the marriage goes on the back burner, then we're going to have the fruit of that. So what we like to do is make sure that we're setting goals for our marriage and setting goals, of course, for business, which comes, I think, a little more natural to us because as entrepreneurs, you're thinking about, you're driven, you're thinking about making sure you're growing and scaling. But oftentimes, you have to be more intentional to have that same type of mindset when it comes to your marriage. So one of the ways that we do that personally is really protecting our date nights and making sure that we're going to do this and we're not going, we call date nights as one of our no work zones. So we don't allow ourselves to talk about business during date nights. Other nights, yeah, but we have to figure out, okay, what else are we going to talk about if we're not going to talk about business? Because we're so in it. And so we have to be very intentional to say, okay, we're going to talk about us. How are you doing? How are you feeling about this? Have you ever thought about this? So we've even found questions online where we can ask each other different questions about experiences growing up and what was, one of our favorite memories, just learning each other better as a person, as an individual, as a human. And then making sure that those marriage goals are clear. So then the business goals are clear as well, but having both of those and being able to track those on a regular basis has really helped us. And then tracking the marriage goals as well as tracking the business goals makes a huge difference in our growth, like in both areas.
Oh, for sure. And we have a couples card game that we
I was just going to say, we got some questions for you.
Yeah, as far as questions are concerned, because a lot of people are like, even before,
I don't know what to say.
Even before our game came out before COVID, but there was a couple that contacted us because we had a question in there in regards to vaccines, and this was even before the pandemic was even thought about, or anything like that. But
because a lot of people stopped vaccinating their children,
years ago. But how many people talk about that before marriage? How many people talk about?
Do you believe or do you don't believe?
Yeah, that situation.
That's very true.
Beforehand. So there's a lot of questions in our game that's like people. I mean, this sister contacted me and she was like, "Yo, this had us all night."
Yeah.
Like we didn't even
you
think
catch
about
that one question. Yeah. It'll keep you up.
Yeah, definitely that. And the goals, it's important, and we do what we used to do. We travel so much now. Well, COVID got us down, but because of traveling that too. But
I traveled to the backyard yesterday.
Couples vision boards, and we feel that as far as your goals, that you should make it plain so that, like in the middle of August, somebody doesn't come up and say, "Oh, well, this is what I wanted to do before the end of the year." Well, why didn't you mention that back in January? You know why?
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? And it's something that can throw the marriage off. And you end up obtaining more goals when you write it down, make it plain, focus and vision and, all that good type of stuff. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So individuality, since we talk so much about marriage and couples and different things like that, how do you maintain your individuality and still be married and work together and all of that?
Great question.
Yeah, that's a real good question. I think it's important that we first be honest about, sort of what is our wiring, if I could use that term. We acknowledge that both of us are introverts, one to a greater degree than the other. So I'm probably more of the ultra introvert between the two of us, but the individuality comes in when we get to enjoy those outlets, whatever, that outlet may be in regards to, something that, allows us to really exercise our creativity, whether it's time with, friends, what have you, but there's all kinds of things that we can do, just in a very nuanced and distinct way that allows us to engage in that sense of individuality. And let me also add, learn to appreciate each other's individuality. I have no problem with admitting that I'm a nerd.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm a little nerdy myself.
You sure is.
Stop. We talking about me. We talking about me. Go ahead.
And then also supporting each other in that in those individual pursuits as well, or pulling and drawing it out. Sometimes I have to sit when we're sitting and talking. I'll just say, okay, so what do you want to do? What is you can, get so caught up in the day to day, but asking, okay, what are your hobbies right now? What would you enjoy doing? What kind of classes do you want to take? What kind of skills do you want to learn? What do you just want to do to recharge? And sometimes almost. Sometimes you say something like that. But sometimes those answers are different depending on the season. And for me to know it, I'm like, well, that would be helpful to know, because then I could actually support in that. So, okay, let's go find out where the closest karate classes are, these days. And if that's what you want to do, then we'll, make that happen. So, celebrating each other, but also asking those questions and supporting each other in those pursuits, I think is one of the ways that we work to keep our individuality, even though we're like together all the time.
My boy finna learn some kung fu.
What you want to do?
My boy Charlene up in there.
You want to do karate too?
No, I don't want to be no Charlene Temple. I don't know nothing about that. I used to watch that growing up.
You want to be Bruce Lee?
Nope.
Okay.
I just want to be me.
We gonna figure it out, right? We gonna figure it out. I
already done figured it out. I'll wait on you to figure it out then.
Let our listeners and our viewers, know how to get in touch with you guys and what you guys do to help build empires.
Sure. Well, you're looking at me, so I'm going to take that. We can be found at MarriedPreneurLife.com. It's MarriedPreneurLife.com. And then on all social media outlets down below, you'll be able to see that. MarriedPreneur Life. You can connect with us there as well. And also, we have tons of different trainings for married entrepreneurs, whether it's downloads for a checklist on your MarriedPreneur checklist for this year, or understanding what the MarriedPreneur operating systems are and how to start implementing legacy systems into your day-to-day routines, or a MarriedPreneur marketing map. All of the goods, they're totally free over at MarriedPreneurLife.com.
Wonderful. Anything else?
No, my boy about to get the kung fu grip on somebody.
Okay, hearts and minds clear. Anything else?
He gonna put you to sleep in one move.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay.
I want to see the move. That's all.
Thank you, OL and Sway with MarriedPreneur Life, guys. This has been so informative.
It sure
make sure that you connect with them.
I tell you, don't let your boy talk to you too much, boy. He gonna get in your head. I'm thinking about some things right now.
I don't get in your head.
Not like the doc just did. I asked you before, did he have a PhD or something?
And I just asked
all up in my grill right now.
I just asked you, were we good? Hearts and minds clear. We
we clear. Okay. Clear. You got the paddles.
All right.
Clear.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Food for thought. Food for thought.
Food for thought. I just love all of this talking about working together. So it brings up the thought of, what did your parents do? What did your parents do? While we're speaking about entrepreneurship today on the show, it brings to mind about our parents and what they did for a living. Now, my mom worked for Bell South, which you guys don't know, it's like AT&T now, but back in the day, it was the Bell South, the South companies. And my dad was an engineer. But honestly, they both were hustlers because they always had like side gigs.
Oh, your pops was a hustler real.
Yeah, they always had side gigs. And honestly,
wasn't he a baseball coach?
That's where I get it. That's where I really get it from both sides, like for both of them. My first remembrance of being an entrepreneur was picking deer tongue, and y'all probably don't know nothing about that. Nothing. Some of y'all might know, but you have to go way out in the woods early in the morning.
Yeah, you was out in the back country.
You got to fill up these knapsacks and different things, and then you have to clean it and dry it out and everything, and then they give you money. Like, this is really country. Like, the man comes around with the truck with a scale on it, and you put it up on the scale, and yeah, they give you money for that.
Like I had a hustle too.
What?
Huh?
What?
I was selling $5 bags.
Of what? Candy? Well, don't play.
Think it was candy?
Don't
if you
play.
want.
Don't play. Don't
puff,
play.
Puff, pass.
Stop it. Do not play. Do not play. And then my second remembrance was...
Hey, we almost made it a family business now.
My second remembrance was the neighborhood paper route. So I had a paper route as well. So like I said, I just grew up with it. Like, entrepreneurship was just my destiny. That was just kind of because of your parents.
Yeah, I went in the wrong business of entrepreneurship. I had to figure something else out.
sometimes hustle is just embedded in you, not that type of hustle. And I don't know why you playing. Why you playing?
Why do you think I'm playing?
And sometimes it's something that you grow up with.
I'm not saying I did, but we did dabble, and we were thinking about it now. That was the only way to get some money real quick up in there.
I don't know who in the hood probably didn't think about it.
I'm just saying, you keep acting like you act like I came from another side of town or something.
I'm just saying, I don't know who in it. But
Girl, I had to fight in them streets.
But you know what? Hustlers make awesome entrepreneurs. Like drug dealers. Awesome.
It's a good thing I ain't no drug dealer.
Entrepreneurs, because you just have that hustle about you. Okay? That's the food for thought for today. Just a few announcements before we go. Marzar Group, distributors of Enagic machines, want you to know people worldwide are discovering the life-changing power of Kangen water. Our bodies are 75% water, and staying well hydrated is critical to our optimal health. However, all water is not created equal. Text healthy water to 347-398-1867 to receive our company link. Change your water, change your life. Okay? Allstate Auto Insurance. Look, we want everybody to save on their auto insurance, but not only to save, but get some money back, okay? You can get safe driving bonus checks, deductible rewards, accident forgiveness, and new car replacement. Get a quote for your plan today. In order to get that quote, you got to go to our show notes. You got to go to our YouTube. Click on the link for Allstate, and you can get a free insurance quote, okay? All right, long weekends with Hilton's Getaways. Now, we are happy that Hilton is sponsoring us, okay? But please be careful out there. We want everyone to be careful no matter where you go, in the States, out the States, around the world. Just be careful. And if you want to do a couples getaway, which we will be doing soon, get 50% off on Sundays. Go to our website, put in PGLWP1 or LWP for the promo code. There's a link that we have for Hilton. Stay 3 nights and you get 50% off at participating Hiltons. It has to be a hotel that's participating in the promotion. Surviving Marriage, books, t-shirts, card games. That's us. You can get our books on Amazon, get our t-shirts and our card game at RufusandJenny.com. All of our merchandise is available at RufusandJenny.com. Buy a t-shirt, buy a card game. Support us, guys. We appreciate your support. And yeah, that's how we work together. Everything is Rufus and Jenny. You guys see that, right? That's how we work together.
I ain't see it.
You ain't seen it? Mm-mm. You ain't seen it? You spend the money. You spend the money when the money comes.
What?
What?
Girl?
What?
You know you shouldn't tell fibs.
You ready to ride, dear? You ready to ride?
I sure am.
Marriage is a journey, not a sprint. We are surviving it. And so can you.
And we are Rufus and Jenny. Until the next episode, y'all be cool.
We'll be winning.